Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Train and Chat. Today's topic is, if you could live anywhere in Jorvik, where would it be and why? Today's drink of the day is a Starbucks iced energy. It's blueberry lemonade flavor, so let's crack it open. I hope you liked that little ASMR segment. We're starting at Fort Pinta today just because I felt like it. Also, I'm sorry if the audio is a little worse. I'm recording in a different room because I had a tree fall through my living room. It's okay, it was just a very small limb. Don't get too worried. But that has not been fixed and there is a leak in the roof now. So it's really loud in the living room because it's dripping. All that to say, the audio is going to be a little different today, but hopefully you can't tell much of a difference. My dream home in Jorvik would probably be like Silverglade Village because I love the small town vibe. Oh, I totally missed that. I really just like the small town vibe, like the cozy, everybody knows each other, and oh my gosh, what in the world? This is off to a great start. Silverglade Village is just small and cozy, everybody knows each other, and I really like that, but also I love the idea of living in like the Golden Leaf Forest because I love fall. I would love to have just like a little cozy cottage there, and you guys came up with some really cute cozy suggestions. The first submission says, I would live near the coast in the harvest counties, maybe in the house of Miss Pikes. So I did have to look this one up because I did not know where this person was talking about, but basically it's like kind of on a little hill, like in the harvest counties, like on the water. Yes, that is so cute because then you could go like swim, and the water in Jorvik seems pretty clear. So I love that idea. 10 out of 10. I would want to live there too. The next one is similar to mine. I would love to live in Golden Hills Valley in a cozy little house close to the city. I think that's a great idea because then you're like still secluded, but also you can like have your own space too. I'm all for the cozy cottage vibes, especially in Golden Hills because fall is my favorite season. We are going to do the Ricky race, guys. The next one says, I would definitely live in South Hoof. First of all, it's so beautiful at sunset/sunrise and night. Also, there's always no one there. That's like the introvert's dream right there. It's also very cozy and the music is just, I think there was supposed to be an emoji right there, but it's gone. And it also holds a lot of memories and sometimes it makes me cry. I don't know why. I feel like I would be a little too lonely. Like, I'm an introvert, but I love like having people around optionally, you know. If I do get lonely, I would like to be able to go out and see people. And really the only person on South Hoof is Hermit, the old man. And I don't know if I'd really want to go over to his house and visit with him. So that's my thoughts. All right, next up, I would like to live in Wildwoods. This place just feels so magical to me. As a little girl, I loved fantasy films, fairies, and magical creatures. The fireflies flying around, the beautiful clear water, and the flowers just put me in a blissful mood and immediately transport me into a storybook world. That sounds so beautiful. Like, you should be a poet because that sounds amazing. And honestly, you kind of make me want to change my answer. But once again, I feel like there's not enough people in Wildwoods. I would just get like a little bit lonely, but it is so beautiful. This is kind of a side, like a tangent, but one thing about that whole area is that I feel like it all kind of blends into each other. Like, I know that Wildwoods and Redwood Point are kind of like part 2 and 3 of Mistfall, but I feel like they look so similar to Mistfall and Dundle that it's kind of like, it's not unique anymore. So that would be my only problem with that. Like, I would rather just live in Dundle because it's kind of close to those areas and it looks so similar, like Mistfall does look similar to those other places. I don't know if that makes sense. One thing I'm going to try to do differently in this video is to only record my responses whenever I'm doing a race. So you're actually like training with me. Someone said, I would pick Steve's Farm because it's really realistic and I like it very much. And I think Steve's Farm is really cute. I'm not a huge fan of the whole Silverglade update, but I do think that Steve's new barn looks like really cute, and it looks like an actual barn. It's a little too crowded for my taste. Like, I would rather live in the village, just slightly away from everybody. But it would be nice to live at Steve's Farm because it's just, you know, so cute. Also, we got a lot of submissions for this one, so if I don't get to read yours, I am sorry. I do apologize for that. I just didn't want this video to be like, you know, 2 hours long. The next submission says, definitely either Valedale, Firgrove, or Dundle. I've always been fascinated with the Celtic, I think that's Celtic or Celtic, I'm not quite sure, or Viking cultures, and all of those places are amazing representation of those cultures in modern day. And I hadn't even thought about that, but you're so right. Like, those areas do resemble the Celtic Viking culture. I don't know like another word to describe that. But they are so cute, and I completely forget about Firgrove sometimes because it's just so out of the way. But honestly, I would like to live in Firgrove too. I would really just like to live anywhere on Jorvik. Next one says, I'd say either Mistfall, the Wildwoods, or Bow Vista Island. If you don't know what Bow Vista Island is, it's a place in one of the Season Riders games. I believe it's the Spring Rider. I looked it up before, but I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. I always loved living in a small, not too big town in the middle of nowhere where I can ride wherever or whenever. Like I said earlier, I do love the small town vibe, so I think all of your ideas are great. I want to say Bow Vista is like really out of the way. I'm not sure because I haven't played those games, but I do feel like it might be a little too secluded for my taste. But I think a few people said Wildwoods, and like, yeah, it's really pretty, but to me it's just a little too secluded. I just like having a few people around, but I like having the option to go see people because I am not a very social person. The next one's a bit of a long one, so hang in with me. Steve's Farm, hear me out. You could just go walk to the shops, your friends could live across the road from you, and they have paddocks and a stable so I could own a horse. Side note, where do all these people on Jorvik keep their horses? Like, if you live in a town, doesn't like everybody ride a horse? Where are all these stables? Where are these people keeping their horses? That is the real question. I know it's not the most beautiful place, but it's convenient. If I was to choose a beautiful place though, it would probably be between Golden Leaf Stables and Jasper's Pumpkin Farm. I love autumn colors. And same, that's kind of what I said earlier, just the convenience of living at Steve's Farm. It's just so central to the whole map, but also, you know, I love fall, and apparently you guys do too, so Golden Leaf and Golden Hills would just be an amazing place to live. Marching Gas has not come out yet at the time I'm recording this video, but it does look very intriguing, so I wonder how many of you guys' answers would change like after we see it, you know? I'm not going to do the jumping races because it's just a lot to try to do all of that while I'm reading your submissions. Someone else said, probably at Silverglade Manor, so I can have fancy stables, riding arenas, and shows. Also because show jumping and dressage are my favorite types of SSO races. Oh my goodness, not me. I cannot do dressage. I don't think I've ever completed one of those dressage races, like a single one. I always attempt them and I always fail, but I do love the show jumping races. Then I will be close to the Hollow Woods and Golden Leaf for aesthetic trail rides. And yes, the Hollow Woods is one of the most, I'd say it's a good and a bad update, because before it was like a little bit spooky, you know, it was just so secluded and it was called the Hollow Woods and there was that old burnt down house. But now they've kind of made it like really beautiful, which is good because we want like to have beautiful places to ride. Also, we don't want to like ruin the original lore of the game. I'm going to skip around and I'm going to go to the Jarlaheim area so we can get a bit of variety. The next submission says, Wildwoods. I love it there, it's so fun to explore and the music there, and I love watching the Jorvik wild horses. So in my mind, whenever I created this topic, I was thinking about like if you were a real life person transported to Jorvik and Jorvik was a real place, so like the music wouldn't exist, because we don't like have ambient music playing around in our everyday lives, but I do know what you mean. Also, another Wildwood submission. You guys really like wildwoods, and it would be so cool to live somewhere with wild horses because it would be so fun to go just watch them, you know? Someone else said Dundle. It's so cozy and just has the vibe I want of trail riding, pretty trees, and lovely company. I always forget about Dundle. Even though it used to be my home stable, it's just so easily forgotten because it's just on the side of the map that no one really visits. But that would also be one of my answers. I love Dundle. And yeah, the people in Dundle are pretty cool too. So I wouldn't mind living there. Really, just anywhere in Jorvik would be a great place to live, in my opinion. Even though there's kind of a lot of drama and and you know, Garnock is trying to unalive everybody. Jorvik is just still such a cool place. The next submission says, for me, it would be Jorvik Stables for multiple reasons. 1, it's multiple fields to go riding. Number 2, it's near a city for shopping and hangouts. Number 3, I think it has the biggest arena. I do agree that Jorvik Stables would be a great place to live. However, if you have done the story quest where there's a giant tornado above Jarlaheim, that would be a little annoying and concerning. Like, imagine if you were just a random Jorvik citizen who doesn't know about the magic and stuff of Jorvik, and you just see this giant purple tornado appear above like the town next to your house. I would be really concerned and I'd probably want to move away. But I do love the idea of like living near Jarlaheim because it does have a good bit of shopping and it is such a cool old town. I want to say it's like one of the oldest towns in Jorvik, and it kind of looks like a castle, so that is really cool. But I have not done those story quests yet. I've just seen like other people talking about them, so I'm kind of glad because I don't want a giant tornado up there in my game just annoying me because who knows when it's going to leave. But I do agree that Jorvik Stables would be a great place to live other than that fact. The next person said, absolutely Valedale. It'd be the perfect spot for trail rides, especially at night with the fireflies. And I'd spend all day gardening and I'd probably live at the house with the watermill next to the river. Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. I always forget that little house is there, but that would be so cool. And I've always like wanted a real life garden, although I kind of hate dirt and like getting my hands dirty, so I'm not sure how much I would actually enjoy that in real life, but it is really cool. And the little water mill, I think that's what it's called. That's what you called it, so I'll call it that too. It's so cute. I feel like the sound of the water like rushing by would just be very peaceful. And of course all the fireflies make it so pretty and magical. So Valedale would definitely be a great place to live. The next person says, I would either live in Dundle or Dino Valley. Dundle seems chill and close to nature, and Dino Valley because I love winter and adventuring. I do agree with the Dundle part, but honestly, I feel like Dino Valley would get really lonely and really cold. I do not like the cold, and I don't know like where else you would live in Dino Valley besides like Nick Stoneground's camp. And those are some very interesting people living at that camp. And I'm not sure if I'd want to spend like every day with them. But the idea of adventuring and exploring and stuff is really cool. I just think it would be a little too cold for my taste. And also kind of low-key, actually not low-key, I would high-key hate living in a tent. But I guess if you could build like your own little cozy cottage in Dino Valley, it wouldn't be so bad. But I just think the cold would be way too not pleasant. Someone said, in Moorland forever. Even if my fave place is Valedale, it would just be a bit strange to live there. Golden Hills is cool, but I don't know where to live there. Moorland is just perfect, and I would really like to live near Miss Foxall's house. Miss Foxall? Who is that? I'm assuming you mean Mrs. Holdsworth, and maybe it's a different translation in another language. The next person said, Starshine Ranch. I'm big into Western riding IRL, and so Starshine is like a dream living place for me. Firgrove in general too, not too far from the river, surrounded by woods, and close to Mistfall. Yeah, definitely can imagine Starshine Ranch being the go-to place for Western riders. I honestly feel like Star Stable doesn't have enough Western riding in the game. Like, there's Starshine Ranch and that's basically it, you know? But like, there's so many other aspects of Western riding that Star Stable has yet to explore. Now, I'm not really an equestrian, so I don't know too much about it, but I do feel like they don't really do enough Western stuff, and they could focus more on mixing Western and English. And being close to Mistfall is a plus, of course, because it's beautiful. This one was a bit different. Someone said, I would choose New Hillcrest because it's so quiet and not a lot of players. LOL, I really like playing alone, so that's why. So you see, my thought is, if you don't want to be around a lot of people, you wouldn't choose New Hillcrest because of all the NPCs that live there. And you know, if this was real life, they would be actual people living there. But New Hillcrest is really cute, and it's not a place that a lot of people would think of to want to live. But I honestly was thinking about like choosing that as my option whenever I came up with this prompt, because the colorful houses are just so cute, and they're kind of like just secluded. They've got their own little community, and they've also got a stable right there, and the Sunset Islands are so pretty. I would love to just ride through there. I do think New Hillcrest would be a cool place to live, and it's definitely one that not a lot of people would choose. Someone said either Dundle or Crescent Moon Village. I love the peacefulness of Dundle and the nature trails. I live in a literal woodland already, so I'd feel right at home there. I even may try to undergo Jorvik Ranger training. I'd definitely choose Dundle over Crescent Moon, which is funny because that's where we're at right now. Because I'm not sure why, but Crescent Moon Village has always freaked me out. It's like kind of scary. That doesn't make any sense, I know. But I think it's because it's just surrounded like by a bunch of nothingness, and all of these swamps are just kind of spooky, and like the ambient sounds in the mirror marshes is just kind of spooky. So I'm not sure if I would want to live that close to them. Dundle is nice though. I would live in Dundle, as I've already stated. And it would be pretty cool to be a Jorvik Ranger too, so that's pretty interesting. I almost forgot to read the second part of this person's submission, but they had said, I love the old, quaint vibe of Crescent Moon as well. I love cities, but they're a bit too loud for me. I feel like this would be the perfect balance, plus I like the older areas of SSO way more. It just feels so homely. And I do agree with this, but like I said, for some reason the area around Crescent Moon just freaks me out, and I think I'd just be too spooked out to actually live there. I do agree that the older areas of SSO do feel like very homey. The next person said Jarlaheim or Silverglade Village. Jarlaheim because it's pretty modern town for Western Jorvik standards. You've got one of the most prestige stables next to it, with Herman, who is probably one of the best horse riding / carrying teachers in my opinion. The little town with a bunch of stuff to work at in case you wouldn't be able to live and work with horses. Oh my gosh, guys, I failed this race again. This is going to be my last time trying it, and if I fail, I'm not going to redo it. This is the third time. Very nice access to fashion, and on top of it, has a trailer for transport, and it does seem free in Jorvik, so I will always take that, LOL. I feel like if you were living there in real life, it wouldn't be free, and I mean, it does have a small fee in game, so it's not technically free, but it is so cheap that, you know, you wouldn't really have to worry about getting around. But one thing you do have to think about if you were to actually live in Jorvik is that taking a trailer in real life would not be that much faster than like riding your horse. Like it would be, because trucks can move faster than horses like long term. So getting around Jorvik in real life would actually take a lot longer than it does in game, but it still wouldn't be like a bad deal, you know? Silverglade Village, on the other hand, is at the heart of Western Jorvik. Almost all major places are roughly the same trip length. It does have a farm, which would always need help if in need of a job. Farmers live and make their living there, so food is never a problem, and could be potentially cheaper than from shops. Not to mention, I'm in love with the manor and the racetrack, which is both quite nearby. It's just a pretty lively place, and there would always be something to do and enjoy. And I totally agree with that. That's why I had said Silverglade Village earlier. I am going to talk while I ride to South Hoof because this is just going to take forever. The next person said Golden Hills Valley for sure. I love how cozy the surroundings are and the large forest. Plus, I think it's a sweet little community and it's close enough to Silverglade if you want to maybe get a coffee or something. Plus, it has a bus station to Jorvik City, which is useful for shopping, and it's great for cross country, my favorite discipline. And I wasn't even thinking about like Golden Hills for the reason that you stated. I was just thinking because of the pretty autumn colors, but you're definitely right about the convenience factor. There is that bus station right there at Cape West. So I think it would be really cool to live like on one of the cliffs kind of near Cape West, you know? Because then you'd have access to Jorvik City with the bus and just the water. I love to swim, so it would be really cool to live like kind of near the ocean. And of course, Golden Hills is just so pretty anyways. It's my autumn dream. So yeah, that's a great place to live. Someone said I would live in Moreland. It's just so cozy and it would be a vibe to go to Miss Holdsworth and go into her little house for hot chocolate and biscuits. Oh my goodness, that's like a dream. That sounds amazing. You've got your priorities straight. I would love to live on Moreland Beach, like near Miss Holdsworth's house. And then like I could just go over there whenever and drink hot chocolate or coffee or whatever, because I'm sure she'd always have something, because you know, sweet little old ladies always do. And we could just sit and chat and she could tell all of her stories about living on Jorvik and stuff, because she's got a pretty interesting life. And then she could like bake cookies for you. That is so amazing. I honestly wish I had thought of that first, because that's just such a good idea. 11 out of 10 would recommend living near Miss Holdsworth on Moreland Beach and going over to her house for hot chocolate and cookies or biscuits if you live somewhere that calls them biscuits. So cute. This one's short and sweet, a cozy little college in Hollow Woods or a cabin in Fir Grove. Like I said earlier, Fir Grove is pretty forgotten and it's really cute. The only thing that would scare me about living there is probably like the wolf problem, but they do have that fence up at night, so I guess that's like not too much of an issue. That would freak me out just a little bit. Also, living in the Hollow Woods, like kind of on your own, if you maybe lived like in between Valedale Village and Steve's Farm or Will's Mill, then you would get like a good mix of the cozy woodsy side, and you'd still be close to Steve's and have access to everything in Silverglade. So yeah, that's all the submissions that we have time for today, but if I didn't get around to reading yours, let me know where you would like to live in Jorvik down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!